Speaking of the next fights, the big headliner, the fight that everybody's been anticipating, and God, let us not fucking jinx it. Let's just hope it happens. UFC 158. What?
Canada's Wonder Boy GSP versus Nick Diaz.
Yes, and like I said, it might have been, it could at this point be, it's been one of the most anticipated fights in UFC history. Everybody has been waiting to see this shit.
I think that's easy. Yeah, I think that's an easy statement.
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is this. We've said it a long time, a couple of years back, we were saying Nick Diaz is the man to beat GSP, and I think our perspective, at least I don't know if I can speak for you, George, but I think our perspective changed a little bit when we saw Condit dissect Nick Diaz and have a game plan that actually put a
I was going to say, I think my perspective changed more when we saw Henderson destroy his little brother.
Right, and George's got a good point, because the Diaz brothers do fight very similar, obviously. And we saw Henderson come up with a plan, and one very similar Carlos Condit come up with a plan that basically just fucking put those two brothers in neutral.
And I'd say athletic wise, GSP's closer to Henderson than he is to Condit. And I have a feeling that he watched that film and then looked at Nick Diaz. And my biggest issue with both Diaz brothers, you always know where they're going to be. They're always going to be right in front of you. They're always going to be coming forward. And if you always know where your opponent's going to be, it's really easy, in my opinion, to game plan for that. And what GSP, I think, is going to do is get in and get out, use his speed, use his jab, use his kicks, look for that late takedown in the round to seal it, and we're going to see a typical 5-round fight. Now, I know GSP feels disrespected and blah, 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 blah. But that's not how you win fights. That's not, let me rephrase that. That's not how he wins fights. He's not a risk taker, and I don't give a shit how angry he is. He's not going to finish this fight.
Yeah, he'll act angry and say, you know, he's got a dark side of him. Whatever. I've heard all that shit. That sells tickets. You know what I mean? But we know every time GSP comes into the octagon, he has got the cool head, he's got a plan, and he's the most methodical fighter out there, and he always has a plan.
That's your go-to word, huh? So if you had to describe the UFC,
if you guys haven't figured out, methodical is my new word for UFC 158.
It's UFC 158, the methodical version.
Yes, /technical. Okay, for all you guys who haven't got it right. Anyway, but I will say this: there's a funny part of this. He could take. This is the thing you might look for Nick Diaz to do. He might say, okay, I know GSP. He might try to fight him and counter him, okay? And figure, okay, if GSP takes me down, fuck it. I'm going to try to submit GSP, because you know what? He hasn't probably gone up against somebody my length, as wiry as me, that has the BJJ skills I have. So Nick Diaz might come into the octagon with a completely different, game plan and say, I wanted to go to the ground. I'm going to submit his ass. Do you think he can do that?
Because to me, I don't think GSP will stay in his guard long. I think GSP knows that I'm not going to stay here. Why am I going to stay here? The only way I can see GSP getting caught is if somehow Nick Diaz gets him in the mount, and I don't think Nick Diaz is strong enough to hold GSP down. I really don't. GSP is phenomenal at getting up. Who's the last person who took GSP down? Go.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a question. All you MMA enthusiasts who know more than Kevin and I, go Google that motherfucker, because I'm too lazy to. Put it down there and let me know. Who's the last person to land a takedown on GSP? A legitimate takedown, like one scored in the record books as a takedown.
Now, one of the things you said is he will definitely have to take it on like Benson Henderson did his brother, because I'm going to tell you what, the one thing that's different, and a lot of people don't realize this and probably haven't paid much attention to it, about Carlos Condit and GSP and GSP trying to height. I mean, you're talking 3 inches, man. I mean, your kicks are longer. His range is, Carlos Condit has more range than GSP, so it makes him easier to get in and get out and keep distance. It'll be much more difficult for GSP to do that against a guy that's actually taller than him. Carlos Condit is fucking tall.
Yeah, I see your point, but I think GSP makes up for it with his athleticism that Carlos Condit doesn't have. Carlos Condit is a hell of an athlete if he's backing up. Carlos Condit has no idea how to put that bitch in drive and come forward.
You got a good point. His shit is fucking not, he's definitely not putting shit in drive. With all that being fucking said, I'm going to have to go, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to go with GSP. However,
You almost have to go by GSP and go UD because this dude just doesn't finish fights. He goes to win. He doesn't. Yeah. No. GSP by UD. I don't see it going any other way.
By UD. Now, the other thing I would like to say is, with all that being said, I would love to see Nick Diaz win this fight. Not only because the fucking UFC would get comical really quick. I just seeing Dana White scoring when that guy held the belt in the conference. That shit would make for some good ass fucking TV. I think Dana White could just sit here, watch this video, and say, "Yeah, it would be very fucking interesting." You know?
Oh my god, yeah, that would be a media nightmare.
It could be a media nightmare, but at the same time, his personality could maybe sell fights. If he's talking mad trash and shit, people might be like, I want to see this crazy bastard fight somebody.
I would love to see Diaz and Hendricks tee off.
Yeah, that would be fucking a good fight. So, I mean, I would like to see it get mixed up in all the divisions. So, I mean, you know, GSP is a great champion. I doubt he will be beat, but I would love to see it. I have no problem saying that. Comical, brash, and yeah, sometimes politically incorrect, the Uncut Sports Show. Non-traditional sports coverage delivered the way you like it by your uncensored co-hosts, Kevin White and George Bedford.